After locking ban in Thailand, elephant is moved to tourist industry.แล้วก็ช้างตัวหนึ่งนี่เราประมาณกันว่าเขาจะทำรายได้ประมาณตัวละ1 ล้านบาทต่อตัวต่อปีก็ปัจจุบันก็มีประมาณ180แห่งทั่วประเทศไทยแล้วก็มีช้างประมาณ 3,000 ตัวที่ถูกใช้เพื่อการท่องเที่ยวครับ
Elephants are used in many ways. The most notable one is riding. We've all seen those iconic pictures of elephants with tourists on their back. People have no idea how much they're harming animals when they visit them at these kind of venues where they can either ride or interact with them. Things like bathing, feeding are also harmful as well because it stresses the elephants.
Elephants don't really feel comfortable around strangers. And it's a life of stress until the very, very end. And that's something people need to realize.
We don't have a right to just go up and touch these elephants. If you did that to me, we all like our personal space, and elephants are exactly the same.
We understand that people do this because they love the animal, and most of them would be absolutely horrified if they realised what the animals have to endure.
ลูกช้างที่เกิดมาเนี่ยก็จะมีการถูกแยกจากแม่ตั้งแต่เด็กแล้วก็พอแยกจากแม่เสร็จก็เอาไปฝึกเพื่อให้ช้างได้แสดงเป็นเอาไปฝึก
The crush is a method of breaking the animal's spirit and making it totally compliant and dependent on humans for instruction. It involves the animal being put into a very small cage where they can't turn around, stand up or sit down. And when they're in this cage, they're often beaten, abused, starved, and this totally breaks down the spirit of the animal.
To have people constantly coming into their personal space and touching them and riding them and force feeding them and making them kneel down and stuff like that, well, you create angry elephants, and angry elephants are dangerous elephants.
We at World Animal Protection know that there's a better way for everyone involved. That's the tourists, the tourism industry, and ultimately the animal.
สวัสดีครับผมชื่อสุภกร ตาลเศรษฐ์นะครับผมก็ดูแลกิจการที่ชื่อดูแลปางช้าง Happy Elephant Care อยู่ที่อำเภอแม่วางก็ผมเข้ามาเริ่มธุรกิจนี้ได้ยังไงนะครับก็ตัวธุรกิจนี้ครับก็ครอบครัวผมเนี่ยเริ่มจากอาของผมเนี่ยครับมีทำธุรกิจเกี่ยวกับอุตสาหกรรมป่าไม้เนี่ยครับช้างก็เลยว่างงานดังนั้นอาของผมเนี่ยก็เลยเอาช้างเนี่ยเข้าสู่อุตสาหกรรมท่องเที่ยวโดยเริ่มจากการเป็นปางสำหรับขี่ช้างอะไรอย่างนี้ครับสภาพชีวิตก็ดีขึ้นระดับหนึ่งแต่ก็ช้างก็ยังต้องอยู่ใต้การควบคุมของควานช้างค่อนข้างเยอะแล้วก็มีการใช้โซ่ใช้พุกอยู่บ้างใช้ตะขออยู่บ้าง
Around 15 years ago, I worked as a volunteer with elephants, which came out of tourism entertainment. And I got to know how inspiring these animals are, how incredibly intelligent they are, and that what we are doing to them, the riding and shows, is really not good. As a sustainability manager working for a large tour operator, I told myself I will change the tourism industry. And that's when I started talking to management. And in 2010 they adopted a policy that they would not do anymore the elephant rides and shows. I approached World Animal Protection because they are a very experienced organization in these kind of issues. And we set up a plan.
My name is Nui. That is the nickname. Thai people will use nickname. And my full name is Rojana Sangthong. So I'm the country director of World Animal Protection in Thailand. I think that of course everyone wants to see elephants, but end goal for me, and I think for us as an organization, that to see tourists come to Thailand and see the elephants and let them be.
Our vision is for people to have an elephant experience which treats the elephant with dignity and respect. So what World Animal Protection means by high welfare differs enormously to the perception of high welfare across many camps in Thailand. We know that many camps in Thailand say they're high welfare, but they still allow interaction, they still allow the elephants to be fed and bathed by visitors.
Our elephant-friendly practices contain points like that elephants should primarily be offered as a direct observation activity, that the elephant should be allowed free roaming throughout the day without any restrictions. The mahouts who work with the elephants are not really the bad guys here. Yes, they may be the ones hitting the elephant, but they only do so because a visitor wants to ride the elephant or wants to interact with the elephant.
I could not feel more passionately against correcting people and telling them that they're absolutely couldn't be more wrong in them painting mahouts to be the bad guys. Mahouts have been around in Thailand for thousands of years, and it's unfair for animal lovers, elephant lovers, anybody to paint mahouts as a villain in this. When there are 20 tourists around one elephant, that mahout is tense. He's worried that his elephant is going to kick somebody over, push somebody with their trunk. And you see that tension in his body. As soon as the tourists just take a step back and that elephant is happy, is content, is relaxed, that's when you see that tension leave the mahout's shoulders. And that's when a mahout truly gets to be a mahout. By removing the tourists and all of this close contact interaction, we're not only improving the lives of elephants, but we're improving the lives of mahouts.
Most of the venues here that offer poor welfare or lower welfare activities, they're businesses, they're sources of incomes, they feed people, they send children to school. We had to be sensitive when we were trying to make the changes to all of these concerns, and we realised that what we actually needed was a business model where income could still be generated, but the welfare of the elephant was front and centre. The best way to do that is to have a venue that's already up and running and leading the way, and this is where Happy Elephant Valley comes in.
ก็สำหรับ World Animal Protect นะครับก็ผมจริงๆก็ยอมรับว่าผมก็เพิ่งได้ยินชื่อมาไม่นานเพิ่งได้รู้จักมาก็ตั้งแต่ไปทำ
We're here at Happy Elephant Valley, which will be the first elephant-friendly venue according to the standards and guidelines of World Animal Protection. And what you can see here is that the elephants are still chained because we're in a process that we have to transform this park from a conventional park to an elephant-friendly one.
So when a venue is transitioning to high welfare, there's many barriers to overcome. I think the first one is that everybody imagines that you can just shut down a riding or interactive venue one day and open it as a non-interactive high welfare venue the next day, and that's not true. A lot of the infrastructure needs to be changed. We need to build night shelters, there needs to be grazing and foraging areas for the elephants available.
All captive elephants in the tourism industry have been through accrual training. When they arrive at an observation-only venue, it is possible to rehabilitate them to a degree, but it takes time. They are afraid of making any step on their own because they are used to somebody telling them, no, you're not supposed to do this, you're supposed to do this. So some of the elephants just stand there, even though they could walk around, and they're afraid of interacting with other elephants. And that socializing with other elephants is extremely important.
We are still training the mahouts, and World Animal Protection is still working with the owners how to deal with the elephants when they are more free.
ครับคุณเดวีก็จะมาสอนเรื่องของการทำกิจกรรมใหม่ครับเพราะว่าเมื่อก่อนจะทำกิจกรรมคือแบบมีการบังคับให้ไปนี่ไปนั่นครับแต่ตอนนี้เราแบบปล่อยอิสระเลยปล่อยช้างให้แบบอิสระเราไม่บังคับเราจะไม่ใช้มีดหรือว่าไม่ใช้ตะขอเราไม่ใช้เลยครับ
So I was really pleasantly surprised to see these two mahouts coming back from that training full of energy, full of ideas. They're passionate about elephants, they're passionate about their job. Your role now is to let your elephant be an elephant in any way possible. Your role is to connect with your elephant and understand when she is happy or unhappy, when she's well or unwell.
ครับมีความสุขครับเพราะว่าเห็นนักท่องเที่ยวมาอย่างเงี้ยก็ภูมิใจละครับภูมิใจแล้วก็อย่างหนึ่งชั้นที่นี่ก็อยู่แบบสบายเลยกี่อิ่ม
It's really amazing to see the progress that the elephants have made since my last visit about 2 months ago. The energy of the camp is completely different.
I like that it's observation and there's no direct interaction. I really enjoy that the elephants are getting to do whatever they want to do.
It was so beautiful. I would want to go back there. I just sit there and look at the elephant.
I think my favourite part was watching the meet on the fence because they were kind of close but they were happy and they're playing, pushing each other around.
When we first got here, they kind of looked like they were bickering, which I thought was hilarious.
And hearing the stories from the mahouts of where they've come from and the stories behind the elephants.
Going back to an elephant riding camp after this experience is really hard to bear actually, and you only then realize what you've just witnessed at an elephant-friendly place.
รู้สึกดีมากเลยครับเพราะว่าจากที่เราแบบอยากให้แบบช้างอยู่อิสระแบบนี้แหละเพราะว่าตั้งแต่เด็กเห็นช้างทำงานหนักมาตลอดเลยแล้วมาอยู่ที่นี่เหมือนว่าช้างได้อยู่อีกโลกหนึ่งครับได้อยู่อีกโลกหนึ่ง
You don't see a chain on any of them. You don't see any of the guides carrying any sticks that would be used to harm them.
This is, I think, probably the best place I've been to ever. Because they just look happy. You can tell they look happy.
ควานช้างก็มีความสุขช้างก็มีความสุข
There's a level of peace here that I really enjoy.
มันมีลักษณะนิสัยส่วนตัวเยอะแล้วมันฉลาดมากๆครับมันก็ใกล้เคียงกับครอบครัวมากๆ
What I hope that we eventually will achieve is that there will be no elephants anymore in captivity, that we are there when the last elephant captivity dies because we can see them all in the wild and we can celebrate that moment, even though it's a sad moment, but we can celebrate the new beginning of watching elephants or Thai elephants in the wild.
I feel really emotional about it. Because we've been working on it for 4 years on this campaign, the fact that we've got to where we are now and we're opening our first fully elephant-friendly venue is really emotional, but it's really exciting as well. And I'm so happy just coming here and seeing the difference in the elephants.
We hope that they can replicate in other areas in Thailand, in Nepal or other parts of the world that there's elephant venues for the tourists. I think that's it, our end goal.